Hello everybody and welcome back to another Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport update today. It is the delay season at MSP and will be for the rest of the summer because here they have closed down runway 30 right and 12 left for construction, and that is essentially taking out two runways because 422 crosses that runway. So we have two runways that have been taken out for the summer season. So the busiest time here, there's only 30 left and 12 right, and runway 17/35 open. So that means that there have been a whole bunch of delays, and that's likely going to continue at least at peak times for probably the rest of the summer, which is quite unfortunate. So our reputation as being like one of the best on-time airports in the U.S. is probably going to slip away. We've had that for, I believe, at least 2 years in a row, and that's definitely not going to happen anymore. But anyways, we'll begin with our airport update today. We're beginning in Concourse B as there are no aircraft in the A concourse today. We'll begin with the E145 over there. It looks like Denver Air Connection has brought back the E145, at least for the time being, which is a bit sad because I do prefer having the Dornier 328 in here just because it's a more unique aircraft. But yeah, the E145 is back for Denver Air Connection. We'll see how long that lasts, because normally they kind of interchange them whenever aircraft they have available. They'll fly here. We have this one arriving from Thief River Falls, and we'll be heading back out there on the turnaround. Next down here we have this Delta Connection CRJ 900. This one is operated by Endeavor and arrived in from Syracuse, and we'll be heading out to Louisville. Alright, and now moving into the C concourse where we see most of our Delta regionals today, ironically. We'll begin with the CRJ 900 back there. This one's operated by Endeavor and arrived in from Sioux Falls Regional Airport. We'll be heading out to Rochester, Minnesota. Our next aircraft here is the C-175, operated by SkyWest, and this one arrived in from Grand Forks, and it'll be heading out to Great Falls. That threw me off a bit at first when I saw the two GF cities, but yeah, heading out to Great Falls and arrived in from Grand Forks. In the middle here we have the Shapeways Custom E-175. This one arrived in from Bismarck, and you'll be heading out to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And our final E-175 right here is also SkyWest operated and arrived in from Chicago Midway, and it'll be heading out to Oklahoma City later today. Currently taxiing out here, we have this Delta 737-900. This one arrived in from Nashville, Tennessee, and is now beginning its taxi out to New York LaGuardia. And now into the pair of WestJet aircraft here. We have the Saab 340 over there on the left of your screen. This is filling in for a Q400 operated by WestJet Encore. So that's the closest alternative that I have right now. Is the Q400s are quite rare, the models for them. So hopefully Gemini can make a new release of the Q400 in the new livery probably at some point this year. But this one arrived in from Regina. I'll be heading back out there. That is the capital of Saskatchewan. Very cool. And next to that one, we have this WestJet 737-700, which is filling in for a MAX 8, as the Edmonton service it has been upgraded to twice daily, and clearly it has been doing well because it has been on the MAX quite frequently. So that is very cool to see for the Edmonton service. That one kind of flip-flops between a whole bunch of different aircraft. That one uses all of the different 737 variants that WestJet has. And unfortunately, the only model that I have is the 737-700 here, so it is what we have to use in its place for the time being. But yeah, Edmonton doing really well out of MSP on both of its daily services, which is still incredibly impressive to see that it has twice daily service to Edmonton. And now to conclude the C concourse here, we have these two Delta aircraft. Delta Airbuses. We have the A319 over there, which arrived in from Philadelphia, heading out to destined Fort Walton Beach in Florida. Next down, we have this A321, which arrived in from Orlando, and it'll be heading out to Denver today. And now we move into the E concourse, beginning with this United A319. This one arrived in from Newark Liberty. We'll be heading out to Denver. Here we have the beautiful Astrojet Retro 737-800 for American Airlines. This one arrived in from Charlotte Douglas International Airport. We'll be heading back out there today on the turnaround. Next up here, we have another American aircraft, this one being this A319, which arrived in from Philadelphia, and it's on the turnaround once again American, they like to do their turnarounds here. United, not as much. You still see United turns plenty often here, but they, at least on their mainline flights, they like to mix it around a little bit, which makes it a little bit more interesting for them. But American, they pretty much just stick with the turns on their aircraft. And here we have this United Express E-175, which is operated by Mesa Airlines today. This one arrived in from Houston Intercontinental, and it will be heading back out there, although its return flight was delayed about 5 hours, which is definitely not welcome by those passengers, I'm sure. Very unfortunate for this aircraft, as it was just about ready to gear up for departure right now, but it looks like this one is going to be severely delayed for the next 5 hours, so that is quite unfortunate. Right here we have the Alaska 737 MAX 9 in the West Coast Wonders livery. This is filling in for a regular livery MAX 9. This is the only model that I have. This one arrived in from Seattle, Tacoma, and we'll be heading back out there today on the turn. And currently taxiing in right here we have this American 737-800, which is arriving in from Dallas-Fort Worth, DFW. We'll be heading out to Phoenix later today. And so I guess my thing about American only doing turnarounds kind of went up in smoke right there. Although this is quite common on the Dallas-Phoenix flip-flop. Most of America's other flights are just turnarounds, but this is the exception to that rule. Right here we have the Shapeways Custom Delta Connection CRJ 900, currently on the long taxi all the way from the A concourse. This is the painful thing about having the runway 30 right being closed, is that the aircraft coming from like the A and C concourses, the B concourse, have to taxi all the way around to the other side of the airport for departure. That is what this aircraft is doing right now. I'll be heading out to Norfolk. And now moving into the F concourse here, where we have these two aircraft here at the very far end. We have the A321 right here, which arrived in from New York LaGuardia. It'll be heading out to Salt Lake City, so some hub hopping for this 321. And next to that one we have the 717, which arrived in from Charlotte, and it will be on the turnaround today, heading back out to Charlotte Douglas. So a rare turn for Delta here, as most of their flights, most of at least their domestic mainline flights, are you almost never see turns. But here is the rare case where I guess you will see one, and it's parked right at the very end of the F concourse. And our next aircraft taxiing in right here is this Delta 737-900, which arrived in from Seattle Tacoma International Airport. And you'll actually be heading out to Anchorage later today. So both Delta, Alaska, and Sun Country have all resumed their Anchorage services for the summer season, which is very cool to see. And hopefully it does well for them. I'm surprised that there's enough traffic demand for all three airlines to have Anchorage. But this is kind of an Alaska routing for this Delta 737-900. Going Seattle and Anchorage, because those are two big Alaska Airlines hubs, but this 737-900 for Delta is flying them today. And once again, there's an aircraft at possibly the worst gate for lighting other than Echo 14 on this replica of MSP. Here is the Delta A320 at Foxtrot 2. This one arrived in from Detroit Metro, and we're heading out to Raleigh-Durham. And here we have these two Delta 330-900 Neos to begin the G concourse. Beginning in the foreground, we have the Team USA 330-900 Neo, which arrived in from the Tokyo Haneda International Airport, and it'll be heading out to Paris-Charles de Gaulle. And behind that one, we have this 330-900 Neo in the regular livery, which will be doing the reciprocal of the previous one. Arrived in from Paris, and it will be heading out to Tokyo after staying overnight, of course. And now we're going to do some clever camera work to not spoil this aircraft that I want to save here for its own shot. Beginning with this Air Canada CRJ 900 there in the back. This one is operated by Jazz Aviation, arrived in from Toronto today. You'll be heading out to Montreal. And then right in front of it here we have another CRJ 900, this one for Delta. This one arrived in from Duluth and is currently taxiing out for Wausau, Wisconsin. This is operated by Endeavor. This Delta A330-300 is doing the classic turn from Amsterdam Schiphol today. Classic flight. We pretty much always see it on this aircraft, and here it is once again. So really nothing much more to address for this one. And yes, welcome Lufthansa. This is definitely the biggest new airline to start service here at MSP since Aer Lingus back in 2019. And this one is absolutely huge for this airport. Lufthansa has now started service every other day from Frankfurt to Minneapolis on the 787-9 Dreamliner. How about that? That is so cool to see. So happy to. It was such a surprise to see Lufthansa announce service here, of course, to compete with Condor Airlines. And now that it's actually here, it's just incredible. I actually saw the flight on its third operation back. I guess that was yesterday that I saw it on Saturday, June 8th, which is actually the day that these flights took place. So this is that flight. This was not the inaugural flight. The inaugural flight was back on June 4th, but to celebrate the occasion, I did bring out the fire truck, and they're giving it a water cannon salute, although the water is falling a little bit short on this guy, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is not the inaugural flight in terms of the time frame for this airport update, but the inaugural was just last week, so that is why we have all these fun festivities out here for this one, just because I wanted to represent that in the airport update, because this is a brand new service, and it's absolutely wonderful to see Lufthansa here on the 787-9. It is real, hard to believe, but it's here, and yeah, MSP is just insane how much it has grown in just this past year, and this is like the big thing that we were all waiting to start here at MSP, and now it has. So that is absolutely incredible scenes here at MSP, and hopefully this is just a sign of things to come in the future. But glad to see that we have Lufthansa here. This one just arrived in from Frankfurt, and it will be heading back out there today. On the turnaround. That flight ended up getting delayed 2 hours, unfortunately. Probably not aided by the terrible taxi times here at MSP now that we have the 2 runways closed. And you probably saw that with the 2 CRJ-900s that normally would not happen in these airport updates, because they would be able to spread them out a little bit and then get everything moving quicker. But now that we have some terrible lineups here, so that'll make for some interesting airport updates where you have a whole bunch of taxiing aircraft all lined up in a row. That normally you wouldn't see, because it's normally more efficient, but that it was just the circumstance that we're dealing with today. But I should not dwell on the negatives when we have this beautiful positive right in front of us, the Lufthansa 787-9. Also a fantastic model by Aviation 400, by the way. Haven't really been able to include it in an airport update yet, and this model is absolutely beautiful. So great job, Aviation 400. Now, at the very end of the G concourse here, beginning with this Delta 737-900 here, the NG models version this time, arrived in from Baltimore. It'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Harry Reid. And behind that one, we have this Delta A321 in the Thank You livery. And this aircraft arrived in from the Boston Logan International Airport, and you'll be heading out to Phoenix Sky Harbor. And next aircraft right here is this Frontier Airlines A320 in the Sammy the Squirrel livery. This one arrived in from Cleveland Hopkins, which is a new service for Frontier Airlines out of MSP. They have been starting many new services out of MSP, actually, and Cleveland happens to be one of them, so that is very nice to see Frontier's expansion here out to Cleveland. You'll be heading out to Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson later today as well. And now we make our way into our very packed Terminal 2 lineup today. Beginning with the Southwest Airlines 737-800, which arrived in from Phoenix Sky Harbor. We'll be heading out to Austin. Behind that one, we have this 737-700 with the split scimitar winglets. Arrived in from Chicago Midway, and it'll be heading out to Denver. And now we move into our Sun Country lineup here, beginning with the 737-800 in the Tide Pod livery right here. Arrived in from Boston Logan, heading out to San Diego, California. We have an empty gate there where we see the nose of the aircraft that's about to pull in there, but we'll get to that one next. And our next aircraft in line is this 737-800 in the old livery, which arrived in from Denver. And this aircraft will be heading out to Las Vegas later today. Third in line here, we have the Tide Pod livery with split scimitars and the 40 years of flight sticker on it. Now, this was the actual aircraft that did operate on this flight, which was very cool to see. 842 Sierra Yankee, and arrived in from Baltimore, leading out to San Francisco. Finally, all the way in the back, we have the Transavia hybrid livery, filling in for the Ariel text font livery aircraft. And this one arrived in from New York JFK, and it'll be heading out to Portland. And to taxi in here, we have the Sun Country 737-800 with split scimitars and without the 40 years of flight sticker, even though this one carries the same registration. This one is just filling in for a regular 737-800 with the 40 years of flight sticker on it. This one arrived in from Kalispell, and we'll be heading out to LAX later today. And right here we have this Delta A220-100, which is currently waiting for the Terminal 2 aircraft to taxi in, which being the Sun Country 737-800 and the Frontier 320. So it's currently just sitting here, but will soon get towed on its way over to the C concourse, where it will park for a bit before heading out to Milwaukee later this afternoon. And our final aircraft for today is this UPS 767-300, which is filling in for 757-200. This one arriving from Louisville. We'll be heading back out there today on the turnaround, one of our many Louisville services on UPS, heading out to Worldport. That'll do it for today's airport update. Thank you all for checking this one out. Great to see that Lufthansa has started service here. That was the last major piece of this incredible summer season that we have building for us. Of course, now that all that has been done, we have to shut down 2 runways, which is definitely incredibly annoying. But I suppose, I mean, there's probably a better time to work on the runways, but if you try to do it in the winter, then obviously you have snow. Maybe this past winter would have been a good time to do it because we didn't really have snow. But I guess that wasn't really foreseen in the plans for this runway construction. But that'll be closed down until the fall, I believe. So definitely very unfortunate there. That will probably cause delays for the rest of the summer as far as flights are concerned. So that is quite unfortunate. I mean, of course, the work has to be done. It's just poor timing, considering this is bound to be a very busy summer season for the airport. But we'll see what ends up happening with that runway construction, and maybe I'll be able to get a decent shot of it when I fly to MSP next, which will be, actually, I already would have, I'm currently on vacation by the time you're watching this video, which is quite insane to think about, as I just finished school. I'm now on summer break. Another crazy thing to think about. But yeah, I'm currently on vacation as you're watching this video, and past me is stressed about that. And I'm also very tired right now, so apologies for this winding outro. But that'll do it for today's video. Thank you all for checking this one out. I will see you tomorrow, and as always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.